Hi, this is John Kassir, the voice of The Crypt Keeper, and you're listening to Without Your Head. I love a girl who'll give you head, and then let you keep it. Oops, she's without her head.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal, and I'm joined by Gavin Hignight, the creator of Mystic Cosmic Portal. How are you doing? Patrol. I'll edit that together.
I'm good, man. How's it going?
I'm excellent. So it comes out tomorrow, actually, August 24th. FunnyOrDie.com. Yeah. For people who don't know what Mystic Cosmic Patrol is, can you give them an idea?
Sure. Basically, it is the last people you want in, saving the Earth, charged with saving the Earth. In the world of superhero culture, I think there's a lot of stuff out there right now, and but no one has really taken the Japanese superhero route, at least for comedy's sake. So, being a big fan of tokusatsu stuff and Sentai stuff, my head just started wandering to, what if it was a team like that, but what if it was more like a show like The Office, or Reno 911, but instead of police, it's, Sentai type heroes running around in spandex and not getting along very well.
So when did the idea come about?
Wow. I got the initial probably idea for this about four years ago, maybe 4 years plus. With all indie stuff, it just takes time to bring it to life. I don't know if, I'm sure you and your listeners, do you remember FearNet?
Yes.
I was actually still working at FearNet at the time when these ideas started, coming into my head. And is FearNet, is its demise was apparent. I just hunkered down and really was writing and working towards, making Mystic what I was going to do next. And it wasn't exactly what I did next, but, a couple years later, here we are.
Yeah. Now, I assume to spoof material, you have to really be knowledgeable about it. So this is all stuff that you were into, before you ever thought of doing Mystic Cosmic Patrol.
Oh, absolutely. I hope that when people see it, they'll get it. They'll get, oh yeah, this guy, he loves this stuff, which I do. I grew up, obviously the first exposure was Godzilla, like all those movies. But then I got into Ultraman, pretty early on. I've always tended to draw, I love stuff like Power Rangers, but I draw from the Japanese stuff, the source material first, just because, I seeked it out along with stuff like anime. But the show, when we were really baking the cake and coming up with the ingredients, I was looking at stuff like Big Bang Theory, and it was very popular at the time, and it was touted as, oh, this is a show for nerds, and I never felt like that. I felt like this is what mainstream, this is what the mainstream thinks nerds are. I was like, I'm going to go make a show that's actually for nerds because, damn it, I'm one of them, and I grew up loving this stuff, and I don't think there's a show out there, for fans like this. So that's kind of how it came about.
Yeah. Now, I love the look of everything in the trailer, the robots and just all the wardrobe and everything. Is that how did it come out how you envisioned it while you were writing it and thinking about it?
I'm glad you asked because I'm very proud and excited to say yes. I've been making, little short films and projects since I was a teenager, and you always just do the best you can with the resources you have, and often that means you get to your final product and it's not what it was exactly in your head. And I think that with Tommy, who'd come on board, and Laura and Doc, from the producing side, they helped me achieve what was in my head. And then, you bring in like Chris Masterson and like Sig Neutron, the talent, on screen as well as behind the screen, making the magic happen. And those guys plussed, what I was hoping to do. So absolutely, like Potty Mouth is totally what I wanted Potty Mouth to be. He's, our talking toilet kaiju. Couldn't be more psyched. He's totally what was in my head.
Actually, just last week on my live show, I had John Kassir on the show. How did it come about that John Kassir got involved?
Yeah, so John came on board and he voiced two characters for us. He voiced Martini Bot, and he went like real Rat Pack robot with it, which, I'm a fan of John's from the Tales from the Crypt days. So hearing him instantly do, and he could even switch between what members of the Rat Pack were. It was just crazy how, I mean, you've talked to him. He's just a master at this stuff. So he brought Martini Bot to life, and then he also did the Time Bats for us, which are way more Crypt Keeper like, and people will hear him doing that in a future episode. For Potty Mouth, we were able to get Eric Bauza, who is just he's in that category with John. He's just a master of voices. I had met him through Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and had hoped we could get him, and he made it happen. So on the voice side, we're packing some heat, man. We have awesome voice actors. I had met John during the FearNet days when Tales from the Crypt was airing on FearNet, and I'd worked with him at doing conventions and stuff, and he's just the nicest guy and like the super professional, and I was lucky that when it was time to make this, he was interested.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the animation. Working on that side, how does that prepare you to do like a live action show? Well,
I think that I've been very fortunate on the animation that I've gotten to write for Turtles, and a couple of the projects I've worked on for Marvel. The thing that I think is similar is that you're writing a kids show, but there's this conscious effort not to you don't want to alienate fans of all ages. So there's always this this mission to write something that appeals to multiple ages. And I think that the craft of doing that, and having done it with these teams at both Nick and both Marvel on Turtles, and on like Avengers Assemble and stuff, my brain was getting taught how to write stuff that appealed to kids that like this stuff, and their parents that liked this stuff 20 years ago and like it now. And that was always an objective with Mystic Cosmic Patrol, was to let's make something that emulates the awesome, cheesy, low budget goofiness of the stuff we grew up on, but let's give it humor that fanboys and people in our age group and plus can enjoy, but let's do it in a way that it doesn't scare parents from being able to watch it with their kids, and the kids get something else out of it. Yeah. So it all kind of came together that way.
Yeah. Why FunnyOrDie.com?
Well, Funny or Die, it's just such a good venue for showing it off, right? We've made this digital series. We want to get it in front of fans. We want to get it in front of people, and we want to find a fan base so we can find a home that will enable us to make more. And the cool thing about Funny or Die is that you can get it up on there and people can see it, and often Funny or Die will embrace things and bring it into their brand and put it on their front page and show it off for you. But you still own the rights. So by having them show it for us, it's not like they take ownership, and then if another entity was interested in producing more with us, I couldn't. This way, people get to see it. It's awesome. We get to be on Funny or Die, and but the future is left more open, and that's kind of what we were looking for on Mystic, is a way to share it with fans, show that it works, but be open to possibilities with it, for future episodes.
Mm-hmm. How many episodes are in this, the first season, I guess?
So this is, and we're kind of considering it like a micro season. We've done 4, and they'll just play 1 a week, for the next 4 weeks. And then we have another 2 or 3 that we're just, finishing up that'll come down the line.
How long is each one?
And scripts for many more.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can keep cranking them out.
Yeah. How long is each episode?
So the episodes are about 5.5 minutes apiece, and the storylines are always take place over 2 episodes. So that way we kind of, we can end on a cliffhanger, and then, you come back next week to see part 2. I think in that way the show is kind of informed a little bit by like the classic, Adam West Batman. And that's definitely how we view our villains too. We have Rutina, who is our main, villain, and she's very much of the genre. But the idea was to build kind of a rogues gallery of monsters, and bring in, fun guest actors like John, to do one. And if they have a good time, bring that monster back later.
Mm-hmm. And you're in it yourself, so why did you pick Black as your color?
Oh man, well, if you knew me, which now you do, but
I do, yes.
I try to be like Johnny Cash in my real life, which is always being the man in black. So I joked with my friends when I was writing it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be the dude in black. And they were like, yeah, it makes sense. So I would feel really uncomfortable in pink. I think that Chris Candy, who came on board, has really rocked pink. I don't think I could. And also the spandex, as you know, is very revealing. And I'm lucky because black is a slimming color. So that's why.
All right. Well, that makes sense, and I do think Johnny Cash would you like to be like Johnny Cash, and I think watching Godzilla and Power Rangers is exactly how Johnny Cash would be.
I think when we were creating Mickey, which is a character that I fumble my way through, there were two things that really stuck with me for him, because he's definitely a character, and I think that visually I was trying to channel Lemmy from Motorhead a little bit, like back in the day, and then also Chuck Norris from his early '80s era of films. I think those are Mickey's heroes, and so those who he's always trying to channel.
And did you handpick the rest of the cast? How did the casting go?
Casting was interesting. People came from different ways. I think there's 2 really interesting stories, actually 3 really interesting stories about casting, which is Chris Masterson, our lead. We, as a group, the producers just could not agree on who we wanted. We all wanted different things in who our lead patrolman is, and it's a really tough character to bring to life, because he's kind of an ass. But the audience has to like him. It has to be somebody who pulls off. It's like the jerk that you can't help but love. And we were just at this impasse. Like, how are we going to cast this? And no one could agree. And Doc, my fellow producer, was like, you know what? Everybody step away from this. Let's all write down who our ideal, Jack, the Blue Patrolman is. Let's come back over the weekend and look at it. And I was thinking about Chris Masterson, being a fan of his work already from Up in the Middle. And so he was at the top of my list. I just wrote it down. And we come back and we reconvene. And I say, well, I don't know this guy. I've never met him. I don't know how to get to him, but, I think he would be great. And my producer, Tommy, was like, oh, yeah, I know him. Let's call him. It was that. And we were lucky that Chris got it. He got with the humor we were going for. And he really came in, and he was as active behind the camera on a producing level as he was in front of the camera. So we were very pleased. And then another real fun anecdote I'll give you real quick is Tim Joe, who plays the Red Patrolman. I'd never met him, and I actually hadn't seen his work. And everyone else, once his name was brought up for that character, was like, "Oh yeah, we have to have him." And so they had sent me some clips of him on YouTube, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this guy's really interesting." And then that day, I was going into the locker room at my gym, and he was going into the locker room in front of me. So I approached him in the men's locker room and was like, "Hey, dude, is your name Tim Joe?" And of course, he looked terrified, like, "Oh, who's this weird guy talking to me in the men's room?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm Gavin. They sent you the materials from this thing, we're making called Mystic Cosmic Patrol," and the rest was magic, I guess, or history.
Yeah. You weren't wearing your spandex at the time. Yeah.
I was not. But I guess if I didn't scare him away there, we had him for the rest of the production whenever we asked him to put on weird stuff or, whatever. But I can't tell you how excited I was about our cast. Laura, who is, one of the producers on the project with me, she plays Candy, the Yellow Patrolman. And I'd met her on a short film about the time that Mystic was coming together in my head. And I just knew, she was that, she was going to be that character. So I had a real strong sense of who she was going to be. And it was, she brought it to life exactly the way we'd hoped for. And that was kind of a guarantee. I knew she would because I'd already worked with her. The other ones we didn't know. And I think for comedy, the chemistry of your team, and also just for a hero team, right? Like, and a hero team that doesn't get along, that's a lot of interesting chemistry to have to try to make work. And I hope people watch these and think that, oh yeah, it does. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. And where can you follow Mystic Cosmic Patrol?
Good question. I asked that myself many, many times. We are, the best ways to find us, the best place to go is the Funny or Die show page, which is just funnyordie.com/Mystic Cosmic. For Instagram, we're on Instagram, Mystic Cosmic. We're on Twitter, Mystic Cosmic. We're on Facebook, Mystic Cosmic Patrol. But I think the best place right now, also mysticcosmicpatrol.com, is a hub for all of that. But I think right now the best place for people to find us is the show page at Funny or Die, because it has all the programming laid out. Like as of tomorrow, when the first episode hits, it'll be right there. And then next week when episode 2 hits, so I think that's the place to go. Trying to think what else, but I think that's really our presence online. The beauty of these being on Funny or Die is people can watch them whenever. I love, they're 5-minute get in and get out. So, and I think fun, comedy's best that way, right? Make it punchy fast, make me laugh, and then I'll go get back to work, and then come back to it later.
Yeah, makes people, and it keeps them wanting more. Instead of I've had enough.
That's always what you want, right, with comedy. And I hope because we had talked about doing 22 minutes, and when we started writing the scripts and crafting them, or, the stories at 11 minutes, it really made sense. And we, copying the format of like kids shows and stuff, we put like a cliffhanger in the middle, and it just turned into an act break. And then it really helped us at that 5.5 minute length. So, hopefully people dig it.
I'm actually really looking forward to it, not just because you're here. I really dig the robots and all the cool monsters. That's the kind of stuff I'm into. So I'm looking forward to it. August 24th on funnyordie.com, and it's been awesome to talk to you.
Man, thanks so much. I hope that we discussed you in the best possible way when episode 2 comes out.
All right. Thanks, man. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Talk to you soon.
Yep.
All right,
bye.
Hi, this is Tim Abel, a.k.a. Balthazar Kane, a.k.a. Circus Kane. And you are listening to Without Your Head Radio.